What should I upgrade first? My camera or my lens? Please help me. Hi and welcome to episode 121 of the Photography Explained podcast. I'm your host Rick, and in each episode I will try to explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 10 minutes-ish without the irrelevant details. What I tell you is based on my lifetime of photographic experience and not Google. No offence Google, not needed this time. Want me to answer your photography question? Get your thinking caps on. More on this at the end. Here is the answery bit. You should upgrade your lens before you upgrade your camera if you want to get higher quality, sharper images. Upgrading your camera lens will generally improve the quality of your photos more than replacing your camera body. You will also be able to shoot a wider range of subjects with a new lens. Camera lenses also have a longer working life than cameras and are upgraded less frequently by manufacturers. There will be times when you need to replace your camera first, but I will come on to them. But first, let me tell you where I'm starting from. This question assumes, or the answer should I say, that you have a camera with a kit lens or a basic lens if it's not an actual kit lens, and not a shiny, state-of-the-art, full-frame DSLR with big, fat, funky, expensive lenses. Right then, let's do this. The range of subjects that you can photograph. That's a great place to start. Replacing your camera body will not help you photograph a wider range of subjects. Well, apart from changing camera system to a larger or indeed smaller sensor, which affects the crop factor, I'll come back to this. No, the focal length of a lens will be a major influence on what you can take photos of and what you cannot take photos of. Talking of which, focal lengths of lenses. See, it all flows nicely, doesn't it? Wide-angle lenses give you a wider field of view. You can get more stuff in a photo, but things are further away. Standard lenses give you a field of view similar to how we humans, me included, see the world. Telephoto lenses get you close in on stuff and with a narrower field of view. The smaller the focal length number, the wider the field of view. The more you can get into a photo. That was a really good sentence. The smaller the focal length number, the wider the field of view. The more you can get into a photo. Sorry, I need to explain because I did such a poor job of reading that sentence out. I'm deleting that. That was absolutely shocking. And the larger the focal length number, the narrower the field of view, and the less you get into a photo. Now, this is obviously subject all of its own, but it's the lenses that give you these options, not the camera body. And this is why we have so many lenses, and that's why camera manufacturers make so many lenses. There's more lenses than there are camera bodies. That's not in my notes, that's just an obvious thing that just came to my head. And lenses last longer than camera bodies. Manufacturers upgrade camera bodies much more often than they upgrade lenses. Why is this? Lenses last longer than camera bodies. Manufacturers upgrade camera bodies more often than they upgrade lenses. Camera lenses generally last longer than camera bodies. So why is that the case? Well, there's much more tech in camera bodies, isn't there? Camera lenses are all about the optics, so there's only so much you can change, /improve, /update. New tech is new tech, optics is optics, so cameras get replaced more often than lenses. I mean, yeah, sure, lenses improve over time, but the improvements are, I'd say they're a bit more incremental rather than the leaps in technology you get in camera bodies. And a great lens is a great lens. A great lens last year is a great lens this year. A great lens from 5 years ago is a great lens this year. One little bonus to all of this is lenses, they hold the value much better than camera bodies. They have much, much better resale values over much, much longer periods of time. That makes them a better financial investment. Quality. Well, the lens is the thing that captures all that good stuff that goes into a photo. A higher quality lens will give you a higher quality image capture. Of course, cameras vary in quality, but you will get a more significant increase in the quality of the photos that you take by upgrading a camera lens than you will upgrading your camera body. This is, in general terms, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, euro for euro, and any other currency. Apologies if I didn't mention yours. Let me know if you want me to mention the currency where you are in a future episode. Oh no, what have I started here? Yep, sorry for that. Sorry for that currency diversion. I mean, let's not forget modern DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. They're amazing these days, and they're more amazing than ever. So when is it best to replace your camera first? Number 1, if your camera is really, really old. 2, if you really, really want a shiny new camera. 3, if your camera's broken. 4, if a change in crop factor will really benefit you. Now, I think I need to cover this in the next episode, okay? Actually, that's a great idea. So next episode is sorted. Okay, the talky bit. I'll start by saying that if you just want a new camera, then that's fine. I'm not saying you must get more lenses before you get a better camera, but of course, upgrading your camera body, it will help you take better photos. I'm not saying that it won't, but in general terms, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, oh, sorry, I covered that earlier, I'll stop there. You will benefit more by upgrading camera lenses than you will by upgrading your camera body. Being able to capture a wider range of subjects is the starting point here, and upgrading the thing that captures the scene and sends that stuff to the camera sensor makes sense, right? Having the ability to capture a wider range of things makes sense, doesn't it? You cannot replicate what a wide-angle lens can do by changing your camera body. Sorry, but this is just common sense to me. Camera bodies are upgraded much more frequently than camera lenses. Camera lenses last longer than camera bodies, so they are, as I said before, a better longer-term investment. And just because camera manufacturers upgrade the cameras more often doesn't mean that you have to upgrade your camera more often. Unless you want the latest kit, that is, which is fine, up to you. But given the choice, a new lens is a better investment than a new camera body. Note to the camera, I'm struggling here, aren't I? In case you're wondering what that voice was, I'm recording this and talking to the camera. I know. Once you've got a great lens, you can put this onto new camera bodies, let's not forget that. Lenses last longer than camera bodies. As I said, I need to cover crop factors and how they affect the photos that you take, which I will get straight into in the next episode. What do? Well, I think I mentioned this in the last episode. I was in the fortunate position of being able to upgrade from a crop sensor camera with kit lens to a full-frame camera, the Canon 5D. And at the same time, I bought the splendid Canon 24-105mm lens. And I was in the fortunate position to be able to do all that at the same time. Sometime later, I bought the Canon 17-40mm f4L lens, which I needed for my architectural photography work. And then I bought a 70-200mm lens. Then I had a problem with my Canon 5D, so I had to replace it and I bought a Canon 6D. But I kept those same lenses though, and I'm not sure when I bought these lenses, but I bought the Canon 6D body way back in 2015. It's probably 7 years now since I bought the Canon 6D, and my lenses are older than that, and they're still as good as they were when I bought them. That's the other point of replacing your lenses before your camera body, because you'll keep them for longer, you'll get more out of them. Camera bodies aren't as durable as lenses, they become obsolete quicker, so much better investment, and it gives you more and other opportunities to take other photos. Yes, I'm still using these lenses today. What I'm telling you is actually what I do. Well, it's what I did. Well, you know what I mean. It's what I'm still doing now. I do tend to get myself into a bit of a muddle, don't I, with some strange rabbit holes. Having got the lenses that I needed, I only replaced the camera body because I needed to. Right, the last word. Oh, a new bit that just came into head when I was writing this, and I like this. I think it's similar to my one-line summary from before, but we're going with the last word, and why not? It's my podcast after all. Sure, there are reasons how and why upgrading your camera makes sense, but in general terms, you will get more benefit from upgrading your camera lens than you will from upgrading your camera. Next episode. Well, I mentioned it in this episode, so I feel duty-bound to cover this next. So in Photography Explained Podcast episode 122, what is crop factor? How does it affect the photos I take? Between us, it sounds a bit dull, that, doesn't it? But crop factor is actually a massive thing that we need to understand, and fortunately, it's not too complicated. So I've got a chance of explaining that one in less than 10 minutes because it looks like I'm failing again here. Do you want me to answer your question? Or questions, that is. You're not limited to one question. My podcast has been created to answer your... My podcast has been... This is take 4 of this sentence. My podcast has been created to answer your photography questions and not mine. So please get in touch with your question, and when I answer it, I will give you a number of shout-outs in that episode, as long as I can still speak, which will exist in podcast land until podcast land is no more. There might be a snappier way of saying that than what I say there with podcast land, but I quite like it. Just head over to photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start, where you can also find out more about my podcast and do stuff to help me. This episode was brought to you by a cheese sandwich with pickle and some salt and vinegar crisps, all washed down with a Diet Pepsi, which I'm sipping sat here in my homemade soundproof recording emporium. I said that first go. That's a miracle for me. I always make a real mess of that because I've really worded it badly to make it difficult to say, so quite happy with that. And with that, I'm going to shut up. Okay, I'm done. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again for listening to me and my small but perfectly formed podcast. It says here, yes, it really does. And that took 4 takes as well, even though the sentence makes perfect sense. And also, thank you for giving me 10-ish minutes of your valuable time. I really do appreciate you sharing part of your day with me, and I look forward to hearing from you and answering your photography question. Cheers from me, Rick.